Hey there, guys. I'm Nova Whiteman, and it's time for another alignment break. Now, recently I posed a question to my email list asking you guys to ask me any question you want. I really want to start doing more of these alignment breaks and again, make them just really as short as I can make things and succinct as I can make things. I kind of have a challenge with that. Um, Little bits of alignment wisdom and applications that are easily digestible and immediately applicable. So if you have a question around the topic of vibrational alignment, spirituality, energy, law of attraction, conscious co-creation, any of that kind of stuff, and especially as it pertains to specific areas in your life, like the human stuff, right? How do we take all of this big, heady, spiritual, metaphysical, conceptual stuff and apply it to everyday human life? So it can be contextual, it can be guidance you're asking for, or just a specific question on any of these topics and how these things work to deepen your understanding and ability to apply them in your own life and integrate it all, shoot them my way. Email me at nova@novawhiteman.com. Comment on any of these videos. Lots of ways to contact me. But the more succinct and to the point the question is, the easier it will be for me to address it. So one of those questions came in recently, and the person asked, how to deal with contrast when you fear the worst might happen. So basically, how do you manage the contrast, the hard stuff, the challenging stuff, the stuff that we're sure we don't want, yet a part of us recognizes and realizes that contrast is necessary, challenge is necessary in life, and for the purpose of growing and expanding and experiencing different aspects of who we really are. And if you look up the word challenge in the dictionary, there is no negative connotation. It just simply means to expand and grow. It's usually the thought that we hold or the perspective or belief that we hold about whatever the subject matter is, or the theme, if you will, of what we're experiencing, or the contrast that's present in our life, is that that tends to color how we experience that challenge. In other words, it can make or break it. It can make it seem like really awful and hard, or simply what it is, like challenge, growth, expansion. But today, for today's purpose, I'm going to answer that question just using total human speak. Like, how do you deal with the sucky aspects of a challenging situation, whether it's meant to grow you or not, or take you where you're ultimately meant to go or not? How do you deal with the sucky parts, right? Especially when fear is in play and really tugging at like our worst internal storylines and dialogues, and just taking us down that rabbit hole of what could possibly go wrong, how can it get worse, all these questions that we're asking ourselves. So I've kind of narrowed it down. This is a big topic, but I'm going to give you a few different ways to work with this aspect of the navigating the human experience as a spiritual being thing. And then take whatever resonates most for you and try it out. So I kind of narrow it down to sort of a 3-step or 3-pronged approach with dealing with contrast and not getting sucked into the fear of the worst case scenario happening. The first thing is actually to dive into it, meet it head on, process it. Okay, don't do the Pollyanna slap a band-aid over it called positivity thing. If it's that big and it's like it's pulling you in, there's a difference between, being able to pivot and just be like, you know what, no, I'm going to focus on the positive aspects here. I'm going to, engage with faith and trust and all that jazz. And you can do it. You can pivot. It's not sucking you back in constantly. If you can do that, do that. If you can't, if the fear is a little bit too strong or compelling for your human mind, go straight into the processing, the embracing of it. Dive right into it. Get your journal out. Grab a trusted friend, therapist, coach, whatever, whoever can hold that space for you. A lot of times your journal can do the trick, and just write out everything that you're afraid of without filter, without having to jump to, the gift or the opportunity or the bright side or the positive side, because our thoughts are energy. Our emotions are energy in motion. So if you are having a lot of that fear, that's a lot of energy inside of you, and it needs an outlet. And a lot of times all it takes is naming it, taking it from the deep dark cave that is your mind and taking it out into the light of day. And a lot of times it's just naming like, shit, I'm scared, or God, this really, the potential of this happening, I don't like that. I feel very overwhelmed. I feel resentful. I feel angry. I feel sad. Just naming those fears can do the trick in um, kind of breaking up that energy and inside of you and allowing it to go somewhere and eventually dissipate. You start to feel lighter after you do that. Bringing the fear out into the light of day allows you to see that it's actually not that scary, and it can give you an access point to the next two things that I'm going to recommend for you. So first and foremost, dealing with the fear inherent in contrast involves processing it, embracing it, meeting it head on. The other thing is like actively handing it over to the universe or God or source. Like the how is not up to us. We are in a co-creative partnership in this life. We're not doing it alone. God does have our back. The universe has our back. Actively choose to engage that belief if that's a belief that you feel serves you. I mean, why wouldn't it? And then how you do that, like an actual tangible way to do that, is by using some really helpful and powerful mantras and prayers. And another way to look at that is like, this is just really focusing that internal monologue, that internal dialogue that tends to turn the dial up on the fear. These mantras will help you to turn that dial down and in fact engage an entirely different dial that is all about trust and faith in the unknown. And a few examples of that are just a really short and simple, succinct one. This is kind of a go-to one for myself and a lot of my group members and clients. Even now, I trust. Yep, even now, when fear is rearing its ugly head, even now I trust. You processed all those emotions, you named all of it, you got it all out on paper or with your trusted friend, and you felt better, but then it sneaks back in. This is where you do that. Even now I trust. Or thank you, God, or universe, or source, use your own language here, for the gift in this situation, even if I don't know what it is yet, even if I don't understand it, if I don't know how it's going to work out. The how is not up to me anyway. But even now I trust, and thank you, God, for the gift and opportunity in this. I will see it eventually. Something along those lines. That is one that comes from Conversations with God by Neale Donald Walsch. I can't remember which book he really highlights that one in, but oh my God, I've used that one for decades now. Thank you, God, for the gift in this experience, even if I don't know what it is yet. It creates a sense of relief. It tames the beast. And then I'll give you one more before I take you to number 3. This one I just recently received, and that is, I rest in the unknown until the divine path is clearly shown. Or I surrender to and rest in the unknown until the divine path is clearly shown. That is like the ultimate statement of handing it over and choosing to trust, choosing to believe without seeing, and understanding that we actually don't need to know. We don't need all the details and have everything in place, because we're not the ones that have to control things. We engage in our partnership in the universe. And one of the biggest things that gets asked of us in human form is to trust in the unknown, be comfortable in it, learn to be comfortable in it, relax into it, because that in so doing, you are remembering and demonstrating your belief and inner knowing that this is a partnership, that there's far more happening on your behalf, on my behalf, on all of our behalves behind the scenes than we'll ever truly realize. So that one, I rest in the unknown until the divine path is clearly shown, has been great for me the last couple of weeks, especially. And so then, once you're sort of taming, that inner voice of fear in those moments, and, you're feeling that sense of relief, then you can move into the third one, which is simply just positive distraction. This is where focusing on positive aspects is really useful, because now you've raised your vibration to a level where you can actually access that, and it doesn't just feel like a band-aid. You've processed your emotions, you've named it, you've moved that energy, you've chosen your inner dialogue, and you're working that angle. And now it's just about distract the shit out of yourself with good feeling things until, things become clearer and as the story unfolds, as that context or experience unfolds. So that could look like going outside for a walk, gardening, taking a nap is always my favorite go-to, spending time with friends who uplift you and make you laugh, watching funny TV shows, listening to podcasts that inspire and reassure you. I mean, it's limitless. Anything that feels good to you, just actively do it and know why you're doing it. It's to keep your vibration up here so you can receive the guidance and the help and the assistance and the how that wants to come to you in this moment. So those are 3 ways that you can deal with the fear when you're dealing with the contrast that happens in life all the time. We live in the world of the relative, of duality, the up and down, yin and the yang, left and the right, good and the bad. And those like contrasty pieces are what actually really powerfully enables us to step into higher versions of who we really are, and higher expressions of our life and our purpose and all that jazz. So through working with it from this angle, you're able to sort of bless it and not dread the contrast, but actually work with it in harmony and cooperation. That's not to say you're never going to have a moment where you're like, oh, really? Are you kidding me? Because you're human. That's okay. Embrace it. In fact, sometimes it can be fun to be snarky with God and our guides in the universe and whatnot. I do it all the time. But then taking the reins and engaging your personal power, your consciousness, your intentionality, your part in this partnership, these are 3 ways to do it. You just got to be really intentional and actually do it rather than sitting and waiting for things to get better, but they can't get better because you're so focused on the contrast and your fear. So process. Actively give it over to God through these mantras. Powerful questions, if you know what those are, I'll save that for another video. Those are great for engaging your partnership with the universe and handing it over. And then positive distraction. Even now I trust. Thank you, God, for the gift in this experience or opportunity, even if I don't know what it is yet. I surrender and rest in the unknown until the divine path is clearly shown. Those are some great mantras to use. So I hope that helps you, the person who asked this question, and I hope it helps all of you who are watching this video and taking this alignment break with me. Again, if you have a specific question or a situation where you're wanting to apply all of this alignment stuff, vibration, energy, all that jazz, please email me. I will strive to address it. Like I said, I want to do a lot more of these videos. I just need a little help on focusing on topics that will be relevant to you. If you would like to deepen this alignment work, take it a step further, there are several ways that you can do that. The first is, grab a copy of my book, Awaken Aligned. I'm about to actually release the Audible version of that in the next month or so. Stay tuned on that, but it's available in paperback and an e-version on Amazon. Awaken Aligned, How to Navigate the Human Experience as a Spiritual Being. I'll make sure to put that somewhere in the comments or email. I have a membership program where my members are actively applying this stuff day in and day out with masterclasses, live Q&A calls, weekly energetic heads up, what's going on in the stars and the skies and the energy, intuitive guidance, that sort of thing. Staying conscious on your path so you can actually apply this stuff consistently. You can find more information about that on my website, novawhiteman.com/membership. You can also grab your free mini e-course on 3 days to raising your vibration. That's absolutely free, and that will get you on my email list, which is another way to deepen this work, is just by staying conscious of it. I'm sending out weekly emails, ways for you to apply this stuff in addition to these alignment breaks, so make sure you're on that. And then, of course, my Facebook community. I have to write this stuff down because I won't remember it all. Free community, spiritual alignment community on Facebook if you're not a part of that already, but it's all about consciousness, staying engaged, and embracing the human part as you're working the spiritual part, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it helped. Have a great day. Bye-bye.